shot at 3334 in Evergreen. 422, you guys are okay over there?
Here in this nail salon in Texarkana, Texas, a Vietnamese immigrant found his American dream.
Was that a big moment for you to become a citizen?
Oh yeah, I'm very happy for.
Van Hun came to the U.S. in 1999, becoming an American citizen 7 years later. But nothing prepared him for what he'd encounter when he got stopped in Tennessee by DICE, the Dixon Interdiction Criminal Enforcement Unit. Hun was on his way back to Texas after a long trip to Virginia, where he had hoped to pay cash for his third nail salon. Agents had plenty of questions.
You have any gun? You have any rush? You have any money? You have anything? I said no.
So you did not tell them that you had cash?
No, I don't.
Why?
Because that too much cash. I don't want to have trouble because I'm hurry on the way home.
That Vietnamese immigrant is one of the many policing for profit victims we've met over the past 4 years.
In that case, he was stopped by the drug task force known as DICE while he was carrying cash that he hoped to use to buy a nail salon.
Do you have any large amounts of money?
What Hun did not know was that DICE gets its funding thanks to a law that lets police take cash off of drivers if they have reason to suspect that it's drug money. After he gave them permission to search his vehicle, these photos show where officers discovered a bag, inside it $50,000 cash, wrapped in aluminum foil. Still, Hun thought it was his right as an American citizen to tell the police it was none of their business.
So you told them, I don't want to talk about it, I just want to go.
Yeah.
And that didn't work, did it?
That didn't work.
They took you to police headquarters?
Yes, sir.
In handcuffs?
Yes, sir.
There inside Dixon Police Headquarters, detectives questioned Hun for 4 hours, demanding that he prove why he was traveling with so much cash.
And they kept telling you this is drug money?
That they do.
And what did you say?
I said, no, that's mine.
He was eventually allowed to leave with his money.
But a Mexican immigrant, Carmina Perez, wasn't so lucky when she encountered an interdiction officer from the 24th Judicial District just across the Tennessee River in West Tennessee.
And I told him, I have no weapons, I have no drugs, I do have money with me. When I told him that I had money and I told him the amount I had with me, he asked me to get off the truck.
Perez freely admitted to the officers that she was carrying $15,000, money that she had earned cleaning houses, to help her family with their medical bills.
And I told him I have been saving that money for months and months and months, and this is what I'm going to use it for. He kept calling me a liar. He kept saying that we Mexicans, we all have a reputation of being drug smugglers, that that's what I was going to use it for. And I kept telling him, no. This right here, they tore it.
After 4 hours on the side of the road, agents took Perez's money, forcing the family to cancel their trip home.
It took me months to save that money. And it hurt me because the way they treated me and the way they treated my son.
In Carmina Perez's case, she found an attorney to sue, and almost a year later, she got her money back.
But the investigation that captured national attention was the story of a New Jersey man and the officer who took his cash. Phil Williams continues his investigation.
You live in the United States, you think you have rights, and apparently you don't.
As a professional insurance adjuster, George Reeby spends a lot of time traveling from state to state. But it was on a trip to a conference in Nashville that the New Jersey man got a real education in Tennessee justice.
I never had any clue that they thought they would be able to take my money legally. I didn't do anything wrong.
Reeby was driving down I-40 heading west through Putnam County when he was stopped for speeding. A Monterey police officer wanted to know if he was carrying any large amounts of cash.
And I said, around 20,000. And then at that point he said, do you mind if I search your vehicle? And I said, no, I don't mind. I certainly didn't feel I was doing anything wrong. It was my money.
That's when the officer confiscated the cash, $22,000 in all, based on his suspicion that it was drug money.
Why didn't you arrest him?
Because he hadn't committed a criminal law.
Officer Larry Bates says the amount of money and the way it was packed gave him reason to be suspicious.
The safest place to put your money, if it's legitimate, is in a bank account.
But it's not illegal to carry cash.
No, it's not illegal to carry cash. Again, it's what the cash is being used for to facilitate or what it's being utilized for.
But you had no proof that that money was being used for drug trafficking, correct? No proof.
And he couldn't prove that it was legitimate.
¿Tiene mucho dinero en su truck y trailer?
Bates is part of a system that News Channel 5 Investigates has discovered gives Tennessee police agencies the incentive to take cash off of out-of-state drivers. If they don't come back to fight for their money, the agency gets to keep it all.
This is a taking without due process.
Union City Attorney John Miles is a former Texas prosecutor who's seen similar cases. He says that while police are required to get a judge to sign off on a seizure within 5 days, state law says that hearing shall be ex parte, meaning only the officer's side can be heard. That's why George Reeby was never told there was a hearing on his case.
It wouldn't have mattered because the judge would have said, this says it shall be ex parte, sit down and shut up. I'm not to hear from you by statute.
I told them I had active bids on eBay that I was trying to buy a vehicle, and they just didn't want to hear it.
In fact, Reeby had proof on his computer, but the Monterey officer drew up a damning affidavit citing his own training that common people do not carry this much U.S. currency.
On the street, a $1,000 bundle could approximately buy 2 ounces of cocaine.
Or the money could have been used to buy a car.
It's possible.
And did he tell you that he was trying to buy a car?
He did.
But you did not include that in your report.
If it's not in there, I didn't put it in there.
So why would you leave that out?
I don't know.
Bates also told the judge the money was hidden inside a tool bag underneath trash to deter law enforcement from locating it.
That's inaccurate. I pulled out the bag and gave it to him.
And even though there was no proof that Reeby was involved in anything illegal, Bates' affidavit portrays him as a man with a criminal history, a history of an arrest for possession of cocaine.
And that was 20-some years ago.
Were you convicted?
No, I wasn't convicted.
But Officer Bates says that old arrest was still part of the calculation to take Reeby's money.
Am I going to use it? Yes, I'm going to use it because he's been charged with it in the past, regardless whether it was 10 or 15 years ago.
We're entitled not to be deprived, right, of our property without due process of law, both under the Tennessee Constitution and the federal Constitution. And nobody cares. Nobody cares.
And Miles says he's seen other seizures where police knew the cases were shaky. Still, authorities insisted on what they called a deal.
You can definitely get your property back if you'll only fill in the blank. Give us $500, give us $1,000, give us $1,500 and you'll get your $10,000 piece of property back.
And you call that extortion?
Absolutely.
I'm just looking forward to getting my money and leaving.
After Reeby filed an appeal and after News Channel 5 began investigating, the state agreed to return his money.
I voluntarily waive my constitutional rights to be...
if he'd sign a statement promising not to sue. But they made him come all the way back from New Jersey to Monterey. He got a check, but no apology.
If they lied about everything in the report, why would they apologize?
And with that, Reeby was ready to put Tennessee in his rearview mirror.
No, I really don't want to come back here.
When we come back, the continuing fallout from our policing for profit investigation.
Now, this happened in Tennessee.
That investigation fuels a national conversation, and one of the agencies at the center of that controversy makes a stunning reversal.
We will not be using civil forfeiture to take anything from you. Car, cash, nothing.